Hello enthusiasts and welcome to Scaled Affairs, the show where I try to rationalize my purchases while trying to fight buyer's remorse by presenting you a review of various anime figures. So be my guest and welcome today's figure on the turntable, Ahri from League of Legends in her KDA skin made by Apex Toys. She comes to you in this rather large box that has this shiny looking holographic foil and a single cutout in the front shaped like a diamond square. I know they wanted to have this look super cool and mature, but since the inlay of the box is also pitch black, it's really hard to see inside. I'm also not a fan of those two knobs in the blister that are visible front and center. Was there really no way to hide those under the cardboard? Inside the box there is your typical plastic shell housing all the parts, and immediately after unboxing her you will notice the sheer amount of weight of this figure. Normally the box together with the blister is actually the heavier part of a figure's total weight, but not in this case, since Ahri's QB tail is one solid piece of plastic. The figure also comes with this little goodie in the form of a small standee. It features the original artwork and the tail is translucent while the character is only printed on one side. It's a fine extra, but nevertheless this could have been included into her base for a more cohesive look. The base itself is this weird looking black trapezoid that has some grooves in it and is kinda glossy. I wouldn't call it ugly, but it certainly isn't beautiful either, and in my opinion the only thing that would justify such a strange shape would be if they also released the other three KDA girls on matching bases that could form a larger version of it. On the other hand, I guess the whole set would be a blast for fans, but also very costly and a large set on display. Mounting her is a very easy task, especially if you follow the instructions provided by the manufacturer, and once Ahri stands on her base, she is quite impressive. But before I take a closer look, here are some of this figure's key specs. I guess at this point I owe you an explanation why there is such an abundance of League figure reviews on this channel lately. Truth is, I never played a single match in my entire life, and I'm also not planning to do so. All the figures belong to a friend of mine who lent them to me for making those short videos. And I'm glad to have them on the show, since currently lots of my pre-orders got delayed, and also because it's always nice to review things outside your comfort zone. Also, figures from this game really picked up quite some steam in the past couple months. It feels like there is not a single week without a new champion getting its own high-class statue announced. In terms of details and finesse, this 1:7 scale version of Ahri doesn't look that impressive if compared to the more spectacular releases by Good Smell Shanghai, but if we overlook the lavish base design of a figure like this Lux for example, the character model itself is basically on the same level. Of course, she has a curvier design in all the right places, and even without the crystal tail this one has some weight to it, and if we include the tail into the equation, she is the best example that the material cost itself can't be that high, because otherwise the price would be at least double compared to other modern scale figures. My highlight are the metal coated parts like the shoulder pads and those armor pieces around her hip that from a certain angle really give the impression of being mid-air. Also, the small heart piece made out of a bright pink, almost translucent plastic does pop out really well. My least favorite part, I guess, is her microphone. It's way too big, too shiny and too round, looking more like a lollipop and obscuring too much of her face. I know it's part of the character design, but for me it would have worked better without this detail. The paint job in general is fine, I guess, but the parts where the black and blue comes together on her leg does look a bit too much like a toy rather than an expensive collectible. Her expression with the face paint and heavy use of lipstick leans more into western comic style or some B-shoujo figures from Kotobukiya, but is fitting for the character and also applied flawless. In summary, this version of Ahri really feels like the starter kit of a KDA assembly rather than a standalone figure. Her tail though is quite impressive, and if you have the chance to display her with some spotlight that shines through it from behind, I think this would benefit her greatly. If you are a die-hard KDA stan who adores this more edgy style, I would say go for it, but if you are uncertain if this is the right addition to your collection, just wait a few weeks and I'm sure someone will announce an even bigger or better statue of her, because LOL figures are all the hype lately. Next time, well, I guess I could make a review about this action figure styled Ash, but I guess I will try to squeeze in at least one non-leak related review to keep things fresh. Until then, thanks for watching, and hopefully we can see each other again in a new episode of Scaled Affairs when I once again take a closer look on anime figures of all sorts. Take care out there and keep having fun collecting.